Okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to finish off our Castle Schinken, our smoked pork loin. So this I took out on Monday, and now we're being interrupted by someone who's soon to be dead. So I took this out of the fridge, out of the brine, and I just let it sit over for a couple days. Why am I doing that? I want to develop the pellicle. Yes, not the pelican. Okay? Not the pelican. Okay? The pellicle. And why do we want the pellicle?
So for the smoke
Sticks. So the smoke can get into the meat properly, okay? But I don't want to, you could just put this straight into the smoker as is, like this, okay? But, like I said, I worked for Germans before, and nothing with them can be done unless it's perfectly round and tied and nice, right? Everything has to be exact, right? So we're going to truss this or tie it up. So like I said, when we did the pork, right, when we did the pancetta, I tied individual rounds, right? Because I wanted to get that very, very tight. Today I'm going to show you how to quickly truss something or quickly tie something so that it's uniform shaped, but also done fairly quickly, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is get this knife out of the way. A little oven cleaner here, a little here. And I'm just going to run my string underneath, okay? And then again, I'm just going to tie 2 times around, right into the middle here, fairly tight, okay? And then I'm just going to cut one end of the string off, okay? Then I'm going to make myself a nice long piece of string, move this off to the side. And then to tie this, I'm just going to simply put the string over my hand, go 2 times around. Okay, so now I've got a loop. You see that little twist there? Reverse. Okay. Now we're going to do it again, just around my hand. Hello, hello. Once, twice. Okay. This loop I'm going to take, slide that back over. Okay. And now I've just got a slip knot. Not the heavy metal band, but a piece of string. And I just work it from side to side, and you can see now I've got a quick knot there. Yeah? So again, 2 times around. So this is a fast way to tie a roast. Okay? The reason I didn't do it like this for the pancetta was because I wanted to make sure that my pancetta got really, really tight. Okay? Because I'm trying to keep the air from the center of the pancetta. Okay? Obviously, I don't need to worry about this because it's still a whole muscle. Okay? So I don't need to worry about air going in there. Plus, this is also going to be hot smoked, so I also don't need to worry about that. Okay? You with me so far? Yeah? Oh, wonderful. So again, just slide it under and just go back side to side. Okay, you can also use your forefinger, your index finger, and your thumb and just pinch it. Okay, and that will also give it some extra tightness. But again, like I said, I don't need to be too worried about this being super tight. I just want it to be a uniform shape. Okay, so that when it smokes, it looks pretty. Okay, flip it over. I'm going to go under one string. Sup, dog? No, no, no. What does it look like? It's full of a smoker. I believe Stephanie already turned the oven on for you. But you'd have to leave that in the proofer. Yeah, I don't know.
How long did you put it in the proofer?
Probably not long enough.
All right.
Also an annoyance when the string becomes not enough, so when students can just things that I'm asking. Okay, so I'm going to go over the back side there, through one of the strings, make a loop, okay, so that this keeps it tight throughout the whole process, okay? But I'm not going to go through each loop this way, so I'm not going to keep doing it. I'll skip one, okay? Because it's not necessary to go through the entire process for each string. Does that make sense? I can just do it every other string, and that'll keep the shape nice and tight, okay?
You're not making an actual knot, you're just
Nope, I'm just going through the,
moving it.
yeah, just looping it. I'll make a knot when I get to the other side. So when I get back to the starting point, okay, I'll tie it through and make a knot at the starting point. The original starting point for the entire tying process. So I've got too much string here, so I'm just going to cut some of this off. I'm not going to do it all. Just tighten it up a little bit. Flip it around. Bring it back to the original starting point. And then here, I'm going to tie one more knot. So now I've got just a nicely tied roast, okay? Which this is going to then go into the hot smoker and smoke at 78 degrees for about 2 hours until we reach a core temperature of about 65 degrees, okay? Does anyone want to try doing this? Boss, you, Steven Spielberg. Boss, you were first up, so come on down.
That will be fastest for me.
Okay, a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. We have to tie these things before next Chinese New Year. Let's go, come on, hustle a little bit, hustle a little bit. You're gonna want to measure out a piece of string.
Hey.
Wash your hands. Thank you.
That's a good
Come
Dirty,
inside.
dirty boss.
Come inside.
Boss, you ever with a thing called soap? By the other sink. Washing your hands with cold water is useless. Absolutely useless.
Where's the soap?
Where do you normally keep soap? Well, where do you think it would be? Look under the sink. Oh, okay. I guess this is Boss's first time using soap. This is where people keep it. You want to take more? Why not? Like, you know, all those go? Oh, okay. So you want to take more, huh? Over there. So you're going to measure off a piece of string. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Right-handed.
I left-handed.
What?
I left-handed.
The only one.
Your name's not Boss. Is it? Are you Boss too? Boss one, Boss two? Thank you for offering up that information. I like the color blue, but nobody cares right now. When you come up here to tie yours, guess what I'm going to ask you? Are you left-handed or right-handed? True story. Okay. So you might find it easier because I'm right-handed as well. So I start from this side and I go around. Okay. Okay, Mr. Boss. Can someone time this? We have to have a chat. No, I'm just joking. We don't really have to time it. Okay, so time it. Get your. No. Why would you tie these together? Then you're gonna have one big loop. Small knot first, right? Okay. No, you're right-handed, right? So, no. Don't wrap it around your hand, because then your hand is going to be the roast. Okay. Okay? Twist. Okay? See how I did that? No, you just did the exact same thing I told you not to do. No, you didn't twist. This isn't twisting. That's tying your own hand up. You will become one with the roast. Watch, watch, carefully, okay? Around, twist. Put a string around my hand. But there's 2 twists there. Yeah? What you're doing is going like this. Right? Okay, so let's try again. No, you watch yourself. Watch everyone how not to do it. Okay. Watch. Yeah? Hand goes in. Okay? Turn. Turn. You see there's still only 1 piece of string around my hand. Okay? Just like that. Oh, now he's got it. Now he's got it. Okay, let's try it out again, boss. Yes, calm down. It's just string. It can't hurt you. Sweet Moses! He's done it, folks! He's done it! But you want to keep it straight up. You want to keep it in the same line. Okay? He's got going back and forth. Okay? Okay, then my fingers. Okay? And then you know what you have to do again? Again. Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Yeah, look at this guy. Wow. Use your, don't do this and this at the same time, okay? Go back and forth, okay? And then once it's a bit tight, then you can use your fingers, okay? All right. Look at that, huh? Do you wear shoes that have laces? Or are you still on belt? Look at you. All right. 1, 2. Okay. This hand never goes around. Okay? Don't start going like this. Okay? This hand never goes around your other hand. Okay? It's just a matter of, so you have a U, right? And then you just twist, twist. Okay? And then, okay? So do you have just Velcro the shoes or what? What's just there we go. Okay. Try to keep it a little closer in. Okay. Try to keep your knots a little tighter together. Okay. Remember, you just want to go back and forth. Tighten it. Okay. Let's go. Look at my hands. Look at the placement of my hands to my body. My left hand is on my left side, like you were born with, right? You're like all like crazy, like twisted around. Okay. So right hand on right side, left hand on left side. Just twist. Go. Okay. Yeah. Good. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this should be ready today, I think. Yeah, so do one more. Look at your hands again. No. No. Stop, look. I just told you. Stop. You got your hand over here and you got your hand here. This is what's screwing you up. Okay? I just told you. See my hands? See the string, okay? You're going like this. That's why it's screwing up, okay? Right hand, right side, right hand, right side. left hand, left side. And just, yeah, that's all you have to do. Once you get this done, you just slide it off. Okay?
Why am I teaching? You're teaching. I'm great. Why do you do all the hard things and no people?
Sit down and read.
Yeah? Yeah, flip it over.
You got an out.
Then you're gonna go over one,
And you got an out.
skip one, and then over one, and skip one. All right, so I just loaded up the smoker with wood chips. I'm gonna get the fire up a little bit faster here, so we can start to smoke up more.
If I had to rate all of those English names, just a good English. Not a lot of English. What Lucy? You're not unique just because you spelled it. I would have to say out of uniqueness. But that doesn't count. Just and then it's great.
All right, so we're gonna get this. Yeah, and then you can tie these together. Okay, congratulations, boss. Yes, give him a round of applause. And who is next? Me?
Go, Kevin.
Who's next? Me. Grab your pork loin. Start off upside down. Oh, that's fine. Sorry, not start making that one small tight loop. Tighter, so it's super tight. Tight. Remember when you do the first knot? No. When you do the first knot, tie it around 2 times. Okay, twice. That way you tighten it, it stays a little more tight. There you go. All right, while he's doing that, you guys have made mayonnaise before? Yes?
Yeah.
Everybody here has made mayonnaise? No, right? Okay, I didn't think so. Because often when students come here, they don't even know what mayonnaise is. So what is mayonnaise? In a nutshell.
Egg yolk with
And not what the ingredients are, that's not what I asked. I didn't ask you what's in the mayonnaise. I know what's in mayonnaise.
and oil.
No,
You're asking what's in it?
I know. What is
it
it?
an emotion?
An emotion.
Ha!
What is an emotion?
Sugar.
What is an emotion?
Fat and water.
What?
Fat and water.
This isn't water. This. No, so no. But don't think of like you're listing ingredients again. What is an emotion? What are we doing here? We're mixing this, which is
Two
what?
ingredients that normally aren't able to mix together.
Essentially, yes. We're essentially combining two products that don't necessarily mix. Okay?
Mix well.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Straight line. It's got like looks like a Richter scale. Keep a straight line. Just start again. Just undo it all.
So
Straight
that the molecules, right, are suspended.
Hold on a second. You see?
So
Straight
it's
line.
basically like combining ingredients together that wouldn't necessarily mix so that the particles or molecules are suspended in whatever.
Yes and no, because there is different types of emulsions. Okay? So a simple vinaigrette would contain two major parts, vinegar and oil, right? However, a simple vinaigrette doesn't stay emulsified, right? When you mix together oil and vinegar and you whisk it, okay, you temporarily break apart the beads, the molecules of oil and vinegar, okay, to very, very small ones. And then they start to cling together a little bit, okay? So you disperse them and make them smaller. The smaller you make them, the more they'll stick together, okay? So if you put it into a high-speed blender, right, you'll get a longer emulsification. But eventually it will split, right? If I mix together really rapidly, if I mix together oil and vinegar, right, and it looks like it's mixed together, right? But if I put it on the counter and let it sit, eventually it's going to separate, right? You understand what I mean? So that's what we call a temporary emulsion, okay? Meaning that it's temporarily suspended, okay? It's not fully suspended, not full emulsion, okay? So we refer to that as a temporary emulsion. So that would be a vinaigrette, okay? So a salad dressing, a basic salad dressing like a vinaigrette, oil and vinegar, would be considered a temporary emulsion, okay? Mayonnaise, because we're using acid as a sort of a glue in a way to help bind the two fat molecules, okay? This would be considered a semi-permanent emulsion, okay? Some people call it a permanent emulsion, some people don't. I'm of the opinion that it's a semi-permanent because even if you were to leave mayonnaise in the fridge, after a certain amount of time, oil would start to separate out from that emulsion. Okay? If you took a bowl of mayonnaise and whisked it together and made mayonnaise, after a certain amount of time in the fridge, you would notice oil starting to split away from that mayonnaise. What's up?
Right here, you're going straight.
Go back and forth, see? You control the string, okay? The string doesn't control you, okay? See? So I pull it to where I want it to go, tighten it up, use my fingers, okay? And then just go through, 1, 2. Okay, so you guys with me so far, okay? We've got a temporary emulsion, right, which is just oil and vinegar, okay? Over time, it's gonna split, right? Then we've got a semi-permanent emulsion, which could be something like a mayonnaise-based dressing or an emulsion of egg yolks and oil, okay? I'm also going to use, normally I would use a little Dijon mustard, but I didn't bring any up today, so I'm just going to use a little bit of mustard here anyways, and that's going to help the emulsion. You never break the fourth plane, never look at the camera, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Acting lessons with director Lucy. So this would be considered a semi-permanent emulsion, okay? Because this is a blend of two fats, but given enough time, it would eventually separate apart, okay? Now, I had a bunch of oil here. How we doing there, sir? Good. I'll move right here. Can you see this?
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'll just move. I figured it's probably easier to move me than for him to figure out how to move the security cameras. All right, so you're with me so far, right? Temporary emulsion, semi-permanent emulsion. And then something like chocolate would be considered a permanent emulsion, because left untouched in the right condition, chocolate will never split, right? We have to do something to it, right? Like heat it up or freeze it, leave it in a cool room and it blooms, the sugar starts to come out. So that would be considered, how beautiful! Nobody claps, eh? Boss is up here for 35 minutes, tying himself like a package, like a care package. Everyone's like, yeah! He does like a perfect one in record-breaking time, and everyone's like, yeah. Don't care. That's not going on my TikTok.
I bring happiness.
I don't know, boss. I don't know how much you're paying all these people to clap for you, but it's gotta be a lot. Who's next?
Lucy.
All right, Lucy. Come on up. So now the thing also with, so we basically have three different emulsions, yeah? Temporary, semi-permanent, and permanent, okay? When you're making mayonnaise, it's not a question of how fast you can whisk, okay? It's not like a race, okay? And in fact, whisking really fast is actually bad for mayonnaise, right? Yeah, good timing. They knew that Lucy was coming up. They're like, oh, sound the alarm! Sound the alarm! All right. Get your pork loin. Okay, so you're gonna make one. You're gonna start. All the way to your left hand side. That's really annoying. Anyways, so 3 types of emulsions, okay? When you're making mayonnaise, I often see students, they seem to think that like the faster you can whisk it, it's like, yeah! Right? They think that's a good thing, okay? But mayonnaise is very sensitive to heat, okay? Mayonnaise is a cold emulsion, okay? There's warm emulsions, which we'll get into in cooking class, and there's cold emulsions, okay? What happens when I rub this whisk against a metal bowl? What am I creating? Friction. Like when you rub your hands together, right? What happens to your 2 hands when they get rubbed together? You generate heat, right? Okay. So you want to go, yeah, so you go back and forth. See how you kind of like that? Good. So this is why when you're making mayonnaise, it's important to use cool bowl, cool egg yolks, but more important, yes.
Can we put a ball of ice underneath?
You can, it's unnecessary if you just take a little care. Ice is not free, right? Ice costs money, right? So if you're adding a cost to making mayonnaise already, and mayonnaise is a cheap ingredient. Yes. What? Yes, that's how you do it. Yeah. See? Straight line. So anyways, you can add ice, but it's really unnecessary if you're just a little careful. But really, all you need to do is just in a slow, steady stream, just add your oil into your egg yolks. Notice that I'm not whisking very fast, right? Okay? Another thing I often see students doing, which is it's kind of a mistake, is they'll stop adding oil, but for some reason this arm this arm stops, this arm just keeps going, right? But if you're not adding anything, you don't need to be mixing, right? You only mix when you add, right? Because then you're not emulsifying, right? So only when you need to add oil should you be whisking, right? Because that's the only time that you need to emulsify the ingredients. Every other time, it's unnecessary, completely unnecessary, right? And it should start to thicken if you've done it correctly, very, very quickly. Can you see inside the bowl? Sort of? I don't know. I can't see the TV screen, so I don't know what it looks like. It's also good to learn how to whisk with both hands, left and right. Also, when you make mayonnaise, it's also important to make sure that you get the sides of the bowl, okay? So, because what happens is as I'm whisking, oil is going to start to accumulate on the sides of the bowl. Okay, so you want to make sure that you go around and get that oil off the side, okay?
Is hollandaise considered a temporary or semi-permanent?
Semi-permanent. So again, I'm going to add oil, whisking as I add the oil. How are we doing there? Look at Lucy go. Hidden talents. Deadly with the camera, and apparently she enjoys tying a roast. All right, so I'm going to keep adding oil. Good. Okay. Trim all that string. We don't need that. Careful with the knife, please. Don't hurt yourself. And then you see you got just very simple, easy mayonnaise, okay? Who wants to tie another roast? We got 4 left. They all need to be tied. Mr. Jonathan, come on down. You're the next contestant. Here's a rope for you. Now, generally, as a rule of thumb, 1 egg yolk is good for about 200 to 250 grams of oil, or mLs of oil. Once mayonnaise is finished, it needs to be stored in the fridge. Okay, it cannot be frozen. Some companies, like you can buy frozen mayonnaise, but they have additives in it. Okay, it's not pure mayonnaise, right? They put additives in to keep the suspension going after the emulsions have been made. Or most store-bought mayonnaise has preservatives, lots of preservatives, and also additional thickening agents to make it thicker, okay?
The other room. The other. No.
Welcome, Jonathan. Welcome. Welcome to my world.
Welcome to your world. Your nightmare, maybe. Oh, look at that. Someone just woke up. Look how amazed boss is. Like, how did he do that?
I woke up in the edge.
He's like David Blaine, man. So use your, so you do 1 at a time, okay? Right. So you can hold the meat, right? And then just go back and forth. And then when you get to a certain point that's tight, you just use your fingers, tighten it up, okay? Now, another thing with mayonnaise, there's no, correct thickness for mayonnaise, okay? There's no real, it has to be super thick or it has to be thin. It really depends on what you're gonna do with it, okay? In many operations, they make mayonnaise quite thick so that they can use it with other sauces or other dressings and it doesn't get too thin, okay? We're gonna be using it today as a dip for our fried chicken. So I'm gonna make it a bit thicker because we're gonna add hot sauce and mustard and spices to it after. So I want this to be a little bit thicker than I would normally have it. And again, being able to whisk with both hands is always a good skill to develop because your arm is gonna get tired. So if you can do it with both hands, you will be much happier. Okay, so that's a pretty good thick mayonnaise there. Now that that's done, it's going to go in the fridge.
Hey Chef, so what's the reason why store-bought mayonnaise is usually white?
Probably the oil they use and also the preservatives they add to it. And it's colored, it's usually colored as well.
Color.
Color?
Yeah, people think like white mayonnaise is like healthier. I don't know. White's better. I have no idea. I mean, yeah, they put in preservatives. They also, like I said, they add in additional thickeners and stabilizers. The most expensive part of mayonnaise is the eggs, pretty much. The seasoning is very little. Oil is not that expensive. So they want to cut down the costs, so they use less egg yolks, okay? And they add stabilizers so that they're able to add more oil and still make a stable mayonnaise product. The more oil you add, the whiter it's going to get, essentially. Look, it's like magic. I look over here, I look back, it's done. It's done. Huh?
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's okay. Just that's, I don't know, what kind of knot are you tying there? You're not trying to secure the Titanic. You got like this like crazy sailor's knot in there. It's like this big. It's bigger than the pork. All right, just cut it now. Trim the string. All right, who's next? We got. Who just said that? Okay. Me. All right, come on. Wow, very nice, sir. Very nice indeed. Wowie. So.
Welcome to my work again.
What are you from the Boss School of Hygiene and Safety? All right, so we've got some fryer oil here. You guys have done deep frying, I'm assuming, right? In Chinese culinary, you must have done deep frying, right? Okay, good. I know you guys don't cut chickens, but at least you do the deep frying. So I've got here just a mixture of flour, baking powder, and then some spices like onion powder, garlic powder, mustard powder, paprika powder, salt probably. What else? Garlic powder, onion powder, paprika powder, cayenne pepper. No cayenne? Okay, so that's about it. And baking powder and flour, okay? There's your string right there. All right. Let's see what happens here, huh? Boss is like the most judgmental guy now. He's watching everybody like, yeah, they're doing it all right, I guess. If you like doing it right.
If you let me do it.
Okay, tie a knot. Tight. Try to keep it centered on top of the. Try to keep it centered on top of the product itself. That way you can keep a straight center line for your string. Okay. What hand? Right hand or left hand? Right. And what's your favorite color? Next time, don't cut it quite so close. Oh, yeah. Because now that's very easy for that string to slide through. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh, boss. I don't know. It's okay though, they've been tying their shoes for a long time, so they just have a little more experience, I think. So, like I said, I got flour, baking powder, spices, Okay, and this is going to go into our dredging tray here. So when you guys are done with your chickens, we're going to do a few different things with your chickens today. Some of it we're going to fry, some of it we're going to save for another class, and some of it's going to another class because they paid for some of the chickens, but you're going to cut them today, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, because you're not going to need all the chickens in this class, so I charge another class for the chicken, but you guys get to cut it for them so that everyone gets the experience of cutting a whole chicken, okay? Instead of you guys paying for 30 whole chickens. That would be a lot. Look at this, huh? Who's next? This isn't going to take long. Yeah, okay. And you, okay. 1 and 2. Try to keep, no. Look, you see you're getting loose here. Make sure. Nice and tight, okay? Before you start the next one. Keep this a bit tight. All right. So, another thing with deep frying is make sure your oil is preheated before you start using it. Don't turn up and down, up and down, up and down, you know? If you're shallow frying, like in a wok, that's fine. But for deep frying stuff, you want to have a nice constant temperature. So I'm turning mine on just low now, okay? And let them slowly heat up. So after this, after we've got our pork in the smoker, I'll show you guys a couple different, I'm going to show you 2 different ways to cut up a chicken today. Okay, one is how we remove the breasts and legs and thighs and wings, okay, from the carcass. The other way is I'm going to show you how to spatchcock a chicken. So it would be to debone it from the backside so that the whole chicken is still a whole piece. Okay? You guys today are just going to cut the chicken the first way I show you. Okay? When you've cut your chicken, you're going to bring it into me or let me see it. Just call me and I'll take a look on your station. Okay? I just want to see how you guys have cut a chicken. I'm sure there's going to be varying degrees of chickens. Some good, some medium, some chickens that are happy they're dead. All right, how are we doing here? Yeah, No. I've also got back up. You've also got to go around the string. See? You're going to go around once. Okay, over one. Around once. Okay. I'll just finish off since we're to this point already. You did good for everything else though. Wonderful. Look at that. And like I said, next time don't cut that quite so short. Okay. Another thing too, remember when you're deep frying foods is to make sure that they, that's great. All right, who's next? One of you come on down, please. Make sure when you're deep frying foods to make sure that the food you're deep frying is dry, okay? When I say dried, what I just mean is that it's not soaking wet, okay? The more water you introduce to the deep fryer, the more steam is going to be generated. The more steam is generated, the more the fryer oil level will rise, right? And what you don't want is to get a lot of splashing, and you don't want it to get overloaded, right? What could happen if it, and a very nasty fire. Fat fires are very difficult to put out, okay? So make sure that you don't overflow your fryer.
This way.
Just let them go that way. All right. So after you guys have cut your chicken, we're going to save most of the breasts or all the breasts for something else. A lot of your legs we're going to save for something else. Then we're going to take a lot of the legs, cut them up. I've got some Frank's Red Hot Sauce here. Okay, so we're going to heat up some Frank's Red Hot Sauce. Also, most of you guys probably don't know what this is, right?
Yeah.
So this is sort of like America's sriracha, even though sriracha is America's one of the most famous. I know it's from your country, but the most famous sriracha company in the world is from America. So this is like sort of America's hot sauce, okay? And it's a very vinegary based hot sauce, okay? It's made by fermenting red chilies, cayenne chilies, and vinegar, and then processing it into a sauce, okay? But this is one of the most famous companies in America for hot sauces, okay? This was originally very difficult to get in Taiwan, and then I kept emailing the company, just like constantly bugging them. I've probably sent them like 100, 200 emails, and then finally they were like, if we just send you like 2 cases of hot sauce, will you stop emailing us? I said, yes, I will. They sent it, and then I waited about a year, and then I started again. So now they just send me once a year a nice pallet full of hot sauce, just to stop me from emailing them. All right, take it easy. What is this little bow here? What is this little thing?
So easy when
I don't know either. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's a fancy little bow. So let's just keep going. Yeah, no. You're doing just what Bossaroni did.
Yay.
Watch your hands. Yeah, left on left, right on right. 1, 2. Okay. Remember that there's never more than one piece of string around your hand, right? You're not putting the string around your hand. You're just twisting the string around itself. Yeah, perfect. Use the, just use your string up here, please. Holding the meat, okay? And just go side to side. Okay? And that'll tighten it, okay? And this should be much tighter, so that's okay. So then you just keep going there. Okay? Keep it in a straight line. So I also made just a very simple, this kind of spice blend is sort of referred to as Cajun spice. They use it in a lot of different countries, or a lot of different regions of the U.S. In particular, places like Texas, Memphis, North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Florida, any place that has a large barbecue culture. And they always make it differently, okay? Again, there's no one recipe for Cajun spice. It depends on where you are. Some places use brown sugar, some places use white sugar, some places use no sugar. So I just make mine kind of a similar way. It's just a generic kind of Cajun spice. And this is just paprika powder, cayenne powder, garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, dry thyme, dry oregano, salt, sugar. Did I say garlic and onion already? Garlic and onion powder. Okay, so this is just kind of a generic blend, cumin and coriander powder. And this is just sort of a generic blend of spices that's used kind of in southern barbecue cooking. This would be something very common they would put on a chicken or on ribs before they smoked it. Okay, a dry rub. So this would go on to the meat several hours before it's cooked so that it can penetrate in through the skin and the fat. Okay? And so this is a pretty basic generic mix that's used for that. So we'll use that to season our chicken when it comes out of the fryer. Okay, and so I've got all the seasoning you need on it already. Another thing with fried chicken is after you dredge it in flour, you should never fry it right away. Okay? So for example, Korean style fried chicken is a wet batter. Okay? Like many places in Southeast Asia, they use a wet batter to fry. Okay? India does the same thing when they fry their vegetables and chicken and some of that for pakoras. They use a wet batter. So what you want to do is we're going to take our chicken, we're going to marinate it in yogurt and lemon juice and spices. Normally in the US they would use buttermilk. Okay, they would soak the chicken in buttermilk because the acid in the buttermilk breaks down the meat. It makes it more tender. It also gives it a nice sort of sourness, like a bit of a juiciness and a sourness to it. But getting buttermilk here is very hard. So I found the best solution or alternative to that is just to use yogurt and lemon juice. Okay, it's a very similar technique used in Indian cooking where they marinate chicken for something like tandoori. Okay, you guys know what a tandoori is? You guys all know what a tandoori is? A tandoori is a big oven used in India for cooking flatbreads and roasting meats. So for example, a tandoori oven in India would be actually on the ground. So they would dig them into so you'd be walking along, there'd be like a tandoori oven there. right? So you have to be a little bit careful or else you're gonna fall in with it. Okay, then you're gonna have like a tandoori leg. What's that?
You need to dip into the soup.
Yeah, that's so naan bread, probably one of the most common breads, right? Which is actually from Pakistan, not India, but most people think it's from India. Is they use what's called a pad. Okay, it's a series of large fabrics woven together. They put the naan bread on the side of the pad. They put their arm in and stick it. Yeah, stick it. Wow, there's so many loops and things here. Wow. Okay, yeah, just cut it. There's like loops and more loops and all kinds of loops. It's like like a pair of Air Jordans here. You just tied up. All right, beautiful. Aside from all the weird loops. And last but not least. So they use a very similar process in Indian cooking, but they actually use yogurt. Okay, they don't really use too much buttermilk in Indian cooking. They don't really use it at all, actually. But it's a very similar process, right? They use the dairy product to marinate their meat before they cook it. And they do the same in Indian cooking with lamb, chicken, fish. They always cook it, they always marinate it in yogurt and a different blend of spices depending on the type of meat. Chicken is one set of spices, lamb is a different set of spices, fish is a different set of spices, depending on what they're making. All right, here we go. Yeah, he looks very nervous there. He's just patting his hands like, oh boy. What did I get myself signed up for? I know what you got yourself signed up for. Okay, there's your string there. So you can probably start on the fat side here. And remember to tie yourself a nice tight starting knot, okay? That's a lot of string. You don't need quite that much string. That's probably good there. Remember to go around 2 times, okay? That'll help keep it on your meat, keep it straight. Yeah, good. And pull. Okay. And quickly tie that into a knot. And tight. Good. Okay. Don't trim it too much. Yeah, it's good. Okay. Here we go. Careful with your knife, please. Don't leave it around like that. Okay. Are you left-handed or right-handed? So you might find it easier to keep it on your left-hand side here. Okay. Try and always keep a little bit of tension on the string. Don't let the string go like that. Okay. Because that's going to loosen up the knots, right? So try and keep a little bit of tension on here. And then if you do it quickly, you can just go around twice. Hold the meat, tighten it up, okay, and then keep going. Okay? Okay. All right. Good. That was a very slow. Good. Don't mind me. I'm doing something else. Fill this up, please. Oh, that's good. Thank you very much. How are we doing here, sir? Just about done? Ooh, boy, this is weird looking. Okay, try to keep your ropes straight as well, huh? No, that's okay. So now our smoker is just starting to fill up here. These will go into the oven at 78 degrees. And they'll smoke for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, until we get a proper internal temperature. Okay, how are we doing there? So just tie that off. Okay. Trim the string. Pick up that tray. Take it out. Open down for me. Okay. So that's how we finish off our pork. Okay. And like I said, we're going to smoke that in the hot smoker at exactly 78 degrees. Okay. And that will render us a nice, perfectly cooked piece of pork loin. It'll be very, very juicy. It won't be overcooked or dry. It'll be right where we want it. Okay. So it's really important that you follow the proper temperatures. Now we're going to get on to some chicken. So each of you, there's 29 people here, right? Good. There's 1 chicken per person. So I'm just going to dry off my chicken. All right. First thing I can do is just remove the head. Okay, because I'm not going to need that. Okay. Later I'm going to trim a lot of the fat away because I'll use this to make stock. Okay. But I don't want all this skin. Okay, because the skin is just going to add a lot of fat to my stock. And chicken already has quite a lot of fat in it. So what I'm just going to do is trim away a fair amount of this fat that's on the head here. Okay, and also the coxcomb here, which is the top part here. This we also don't really need. So we're going to give him a little haircut. And so now he's much sadder looking, right? The skin we don't need, okay? Next thing I want to do is take off my chicken wing. So there's 2 parts to a chicken wing. There's called the flat and the drum, okay? The flat part here has 2 bones going through it, and the drum is the small drumstick bone that goes onto the chicken breast. We're going to leave the drumstick on the chicken breast today, okay? So we just cut right through the joint. And then right through the joint here, okay? The little wing tips here, we're going to use for stock. The flats we're going to keep for another class, okay? each wing, okay, or each joint, you'll be able to see the movement where it's moving, okay? So where you see it moving is where you're going to cut, because that movement is a ball and socket joint, okay? Which means there's a ball like our hip bones, okay, and our hip and our pelvis. There's a ball attached to the end of our femur bone that goes into the hip joint, the socket, and that moves around, okay? It's the same thing with the chicken, okay? You're like the chicken, okay? Or the chicken's like you. So the same thing goes for the wings, okay? So I'm just going to go right through and then cut right down through my joint here, okay? And they just pop out very easily. So you'll be able to see where to cut them. Same thing goes with the legs. Okay, we don't need the feet. Okay, so you can just pop this out. Okay, again, just like your knee. Okay, so you pop that out, and then easily using your knife, it should just come off very quickly. Okay, also for stock, unless you want to take it home and make some chicken soup or some chicken feets. So again, pop that out. And we save that for stock. To get the legs off, okay, when you spread the leg, the drumstick away from the breast here, you're going to see a white line. Can you see that on the camera? Can you see that? Can you see that? On the TV, can you see that?
It's very faint.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm doing the best I can. But there is, you'll notice a white line. It's a distinctive, thicker white line between the leg and the breast, okay? So what I want to do is using my fingers, just spread the fat at that line and go through. And that's going to open up the cavity between the leg and the breast. Okay, and then once you open it up, you'll actually see the fat white line there. That should be much more easy to see now. Can you see that on the camera? See that fat white line there? That's the line that was under the skin that I was talking about. And that's showing you where to cut. Chicken's like, here please, here please, here please, maybe not that. Okay? So now I'm just going to use the tip of my boning knife here, and I'm going to go in to the leg. I'm just going to turn it over to separate a little bit of the fat here. And then again, just using my hand, I'm just going to pop this bone. Okay, and this pops the thigh bone out from the socket or the pelvis of the chicken. Then you want to use your knife and go straight down to the back here. Okay, the backbone. Okay, so we got the backbone of the chicken and we got the breastbone. Okay, so this is the breastbone of the chicken. This is now the backbone. Okay, there's two parts here called the oysters. Okay, not like oyster from the ocean, obviously, because they're on a chicken. And that would be basically this part of your body. Okay, this is considered like one of the best parts. Okay, this part of the animal. Okay, the chicken butt and the oyster are considered two of the nicest pieces. Okay, so you want to make sure that with your knife you go in to that section there because it dips in, it curves in. Okay, so you want to make sure you go into that. Okay, and then straight along, right through that leg joint. And this part here is the oyster. You see that? That piece right there? That's the oyster, that fat little piece of meat right there. Okay? It came out. See this little indent here? That little curved indent is where that oyster comes from. Okay? And often chefs will ask you to debone a chicken because they want to see how good your knife skills are. And they won't even look at that. They'll just look at this and they'll be able to tell right away. If you're able to get the oyster out, keep trying. Okay? So that's our leg, all right? So same exact principle on this side, okay? I'm just gonna go through, spread the leg away from the breastbone here. Okay, gonna go all the way down just till I get to the drum. I'm gonna turn it over, cut my skin here. Just gonna pop this out. And it's very easy. It pops out very, very easily, okay? Chickens are not strong animals, okay? Okay, they're very, very weak, in fact, okay? You could kill one, trust me. So now, using my knife, I'm gonna go underneath again into the oyster, okay? And then right through my socket here, and then all the way down. And then you can just peel that back, and it should just peel off pretty much all the way. So that's your legs, okay? So what you're left with then is you should have two almost identical circle cuts that go in through there, okay? It shouldn't be straight across here like this. Okay, a lot of people do that. They just cut straight like this. But really what you should do is in and then out, okay? Now to take off our breast, I'm just gonna turn this oil off because it's already hot. Take off our breast, I'm just gonna, there's two things you can do here. If you wanna make it easier for yourself, you can take away the carcass, okay, the bottom part of the carcass. You can just snap this back. Okay? And so it'll sit a little easier. Won't roll them out around so much. Okay? But it's not necessary to do that. This you're also going to want to trim a lot of this fat and skin away. Okay? Because like I said, we're going to make stock out of these bones. And so to make stock, I don't want to have quite this much fat. And so I'm just going to use my knife and just trim through and get as much of that off as I can. And same with this fat that's built up inside here. We also don't need that. In a lot of kitchens, especially European kitchens, all this fat that I'm trimming away here, I would keep it and I'd boil it down and I would use it for cooking later. Okay? Cooking with chicken fat, duck fat, beef fat, it's very, very nice. So now, once I got that done, I've got my breastbone here, okay? I'm going to take my knife and just run right down the breastbone. Okay, and that's going to expose my two chicken breasts here. And then using the tip of my boning knife, I'm just going to go along the breastbone to expose the breast meat, okay, and take it away from the carcass itself, okay? Once I get up to the wishbone area, I'm just going to use my knife and go through the wishbone. You can also take the wishbone out ahead of time, but I find it easier just to take it out as it is, using my knife. And then once we get to the joint of the wing bone, I'm just going to use my knife and separate that away. And then you can just clean off or tear off your chicken breast straight from the carcass there. Make sure you keep your cutting board dry. That'll help in keeping your chicken from sliding around too much. Then you want to trim off any of the extra fat that's on there. Any of the bone that might be left on there from the carcass. Trim that away. And then you've got one chicken breast. Okay, you want to make sure you get a nice fat skin covering still on there. If you French this bone, meaning you take all the meat off the bone, this would be called an airline breast. If you take the meat off the bone there. Okay, so now on the other side here, I'm just going to go through again, using my knife, go right down the breast, using the tip of my blade, just go right across the bone here, and you really want to make sure that you keep your knife against the bone so you get all the meat off. And there's your second breast. Again, go through and and just trim this down a little bit. Okay, so then you've got 2 breasts, you've got all your carcass meat, okay? The chicken leg, after that, the chicken leg, you're gonna take 1 chicken leg, okay? Using your knife, you're gonna follow the bone here, okay? The bone structure goes straight up, you'll see a line. Can you see this white line here? Can you see that on the TV? No? Where is the TV? No, I know where the TV, Jesus boss, sometimes. I know where the TV is, but where do I have to be to show you?
Yes.
No, I know where that is as well.
Zoom.
Okay, anyways. There's 2 white lines, they form a T, okay? If you look at the bone structure, okay, see how my chicken leg is sitting towards me? The drumstick is like this, the thigh is like that. You're gonna see 1 white line going here and 1 white line going here, forming a T, okay? You're gonna use your knife, okay? And you're gonna go in with the point of your knife, and you're gonna separate out the thigh bone. And again, just using the tip of my knife, I'm going to go down the leg bone, okay? And so then what we want to do is once we get to the end of the leg bone, we can just cut out that, use your knife, and you can scrape down along the bone, okay, and that'll separate the meat off the bone. Any tendons you can just slice through. You do the same thing on the other side. Then you should be able to easily cut out your thigh bone and your drumstick bone. Again, the joints are just ball and socket joints, so they're easy to move. We save all that for our stock. Okay? So there's our leg bone. Then what you want to do is feel around, make sure there's no cartilage, small bits of cartilage or anything like that, small bone or cartilage. You want to take that out, okay, because you're going to fry the chicken, right? So it's not really nice to eat fried chicken and get a big piece of cartilage in there, right? Unless the chicken's already on the bone. If the bone's left in the chicken and you bite into the bone, you're kind of stupid, right? You know the bone's there. But if you're under the impression that the bone is gone and you bite into it, it's going to be unpleasant. Then you're going to also want to take the skin off, and that's very easy. You can just use your fingers and the skin will just peel away. Okay, this chicken skin we don't need. Same like the chicken skin we trimmed away from the rest of the carcass. If it doesn't come right off, you can just use your knife and it'll very easily just peel right off with some small cutting. So that's that. So then you're ending up with a thigh bone, or a boneless thigh, which then you can cut into probably 4 large pieces. Then I'm going to take another bowl, a pot maybe, and I don't have a bowl. I'm going to take some yogurt. So So I've got just a little bit of Cajun spice here. Put it on. And a little bit of lemon juice, let it sit for about 10-15 minutes before I dredge it in my flour and deep fry it. Okay? So we're getting a little short on time because that pork took you guys a bit longer to tie than I was hoping. So get yourselves up. You're gonna need to get a cutting board, red or blue cutting boards because I don't think they have yellow. Get your hats on, get your knives, get your aprons on. Can you turn it off now?